Hi, and welcome to the Bill McIntosh Show. I'm your host, Bill McIntosh, and I'm really super excited about today's guest. I'm interviewing Ken Spanky Moskowitz, the founder and CEO of Ad Zombies. Ken has taken Ad Zombies from a zero-place startup to over seven figures in revenue in under 2 years. Ken started his creative career in New York City. It's there that he quickly rose to the top of the broadcast creative industry. Over the many years of his career, he's been at the helm of brand positioning, advertising, and marketing campaigns. Ken has led rebranding and resurrection efforts for many major and smaller brands over the last 3 decades. Brands like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and its famed Indy 500, Frito-Lay, Samuel Adams, Coca-Cola, M&M, Mars, just to name a few. He's revitalized ailing broadcast outlets and sports franchise brands across the country. Ken's unique approach to creative and fun yet memorable branding sets him apart in the industry. His approach is at times edgy, always unique, and always very memorable. Let's jump right into it.
Bill,
a
lot of people plan and plan and plan and never execute. An imperfect plan is better than not executing. So I think the biggest challenge for most people is they try something and they don't get traction right away. And so what they do is they go, oh, this sucks, it doesn't work, and they move on, rather than thinking about, oh, what did I do wrong on this platform, or what could I have done different? One of the mistakes that I made yesterday, because I was working on several pieces of content and I wasn't paying attention to the platform.
Right.
And wasn't respecting the platform unintentionally.
Yeah.
And I published something on LinkedIn without, I literally copied what I had written for Facebook.
Okay.
Pasted it and didn't think, oh, wait, I'm on LinkedIn. This needs to be written differently.
Okay.
And when I did it, it got zero engagement, zero traction, which is not normal for me.
No, sure.
And I realized that it was the format of the text, of the way I wrote it.
Okay.
Because different platforms have different voices. So you have to be respectful of the voice of the platform.
Right.
And
do you have different audiences, Ken, on both platforms?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The audience. So think about the audiences that follow. And I love this. There's no hesitation. We are right into the podcast. We're right into the show.
It.
I love that.
I didn't even say thank you for taking the time to be here today. So
why don't we do let's do a formal start. Okay, go ahead, Bill. Do your formal start.
Yeah. So Ken, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. And let's just jump right in, buddy. I want to get people watching this as much value as possible from your wealth of experience and knowledge.
So for those of you just jumping into the Bill McIntosh Show, we started the show officially 2 minutes ago. So that's, or maybe longer.
I'll sort all this out in editing.
Don't even bother. Just publish it as is. You see, and that's another thing that Bill, a lot of people do that. They will try to edit things to perfection. And then let me explain what I mean by that.
Okay.
The reality is that a lot of people are so hung up on perfection, that they miss the greater opportunity. Right. And you don't want to miss the greater opportunity, obviously.
So you would agree then that, this is my feeling, Ken, that authenticity will trump perfection every time. And if we're being authentic, we are genuinely not perfect. So, all the, all the blemishes and pimples and all the rest of it is not a bad thing anymore on social media.
I think people have come to expect it. I mean, look, I'm sitting in my backyard. Behind me is my bedroom. My smoker is over here. We're doing this, and we both serve a business community, right? My business serves a global business community, and it doesn't matter if we're in a perfect polished studio and every hair is in place, and we look like news anchors. That's not what the world, right? They don't expect that. What the world expects is for people to just show up. And if you show up and you are real and you are you're adding value to the world. You don't have to be perfect and pretty. I mean, God knows, look at this face, to add value to the world.
Yeah. No, I agree. The quality of the content, I think, is what counts. It's funny, on that topic, I had to make a creative decision. Do I not? I mean, I just figured out how to do the virtual background with Zoom, which is what you're looking at.
Right.
Do I do that, or do I let people have, a sneak peek into the spare bedroom at my place where I'm shooting this? So with the messy bed and all the rest of it, I thought, nah, I'll throw up the virtual background. But I know what you mean. I do videos as well, just on the cuff on my phone. I'll be walking down the street. I'll be sitting at a cafe, whatever. And, I'm really comfortable with that as well.
I think there's value in presenting something that's not visually distracting,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the value is in the content,
Yeah.
which is coming from the actual conversation or whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
So I think people tend to think too much about it rather than getting stuff done.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, I
and
agree.
You can procrastinate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree, Ken. So let's circle back around for a minute to you were about to explain the difference between the audiences and the platforms on Facebook
Yes.
and LinkedIn and how that affects the way you write and present your content. That would
Sure.
be really fascinating for people listening.
So think about who hangs out on each platform, right? Facebook is let's call it a true social community, right? People
Yeah.
share pictures of their grandkids. They
Yeah.
share stories of what's going on in their day. And so the conversation that you have on Facebook as a brand, as a business,
Right.
is much more casual.
Yeah, it's
much
like the backyard barbecue.
So the platforms have their own feel to them. And
Right.
so social like Facebook is a definitely more casual approach
Yeah.
versus LinkedIn, which is more polished, more business, more
Right.
less casual. It's a little more formal.
Do you think it's shifting over though, Ken, or will it always have that aspect of being more business-like?
It depends on the audience that's picking up your content. And
Right.
here's what I mean by that. I'm very attracted to casually written content.
Right.
I see formal and I think it's corporate BS, and my brain says ignore it. Right?
Yeah.
That's me. That's
Yeah.
probably because I have ADD. It's probably because I was dropped on my head as a kid. But the reality is that content doesn't speak to me.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm the same.
right, but that's not the same for everyone. I have
No,
a friend,
of course.
right? I have a friend who's incredibly corporate, very polished, very structured, and the stuff that I put out, he goes, God, who would read that? That's so that's fine.
Yeah.
But the reality is we have different flavors, right? If you walked into an ice cream shop, I love the 31 flavors analogy. If you walked into an ice cream shop, Bill,
Yeah.
and there was the number one best-selling flavor, and you whatever that flavor is, you walk up to the counter and you look at that flavor and you go, ooh, that's not the flavor I like. But the ice cream shop had 31 of the same flavor. You would walk out, right?
Yeah.
There's no, right? Because that flavor doesn't appeal to you.
Yeah.
The reason that they create 31 flavors is because everyone has a different opinion about what's good, what's bad, what they like, what they don't like, what tastes good. And
Yeah.
so I look at content the same way. I'm really platform agnostic and content agnostic.
Right.
And what I mean by that is this. There are some pieces that I will craft messages for the business that are formal, and
Yeah.
I do that to appeal to the audience that prefers formality.
Yeah.
And there are lots of messages that I do that are really silly, and I
Yeah.
do that because I have a goofy streak.
Yeah.
And then there are things that are in the middle to appeal to a more broad audience that can go either way. But think about how you perceive content. You could wake up, and I love thinking about it this way. Put yourself in the mind of the consumer that happens to be scrolling through whatever platform it is, and
Yeah.
they come across your content, whether it's an ad, a blog, whatever.
Yeah.
And that person woke up, and that particular day, they have a headache. And so they scroll through your content, and it's the funniest ad ever, but they keep scrolling because they have a headache, and that's not it for them.
Yeah.
The next day they wake up, and they're in a great mood, and they see your message, and they click on it because they feel good and whatever, and then they just go back to their normal life. And
Yeah.
that's one touch point. Okay?
Yeah.
The next day they wake up and they have an argument with their spouse. Again, they scroll through the feed, they pass one of your serious ads, but a few hours later, another ad comes up, and this one is goofy, and
Right.
it catches their attention and brings them out of that funk from the earlier argument with their spouse.
Right.
And so now you have a second touch point, but really you have a fourth impression because they've
Right, yeah.
seen ads from you.
Yeah.
Right? And so people forget the value of those visual touch points, those impressions is really, really strong. And then every time
Because
someone
everybody
sees you, they
focuses
become
on the
more-
click-through and the conversions. Right.
Conversion happens, but familiarity has to happen first. So
Exactly.
I'm a big fan or a big proponent of brand first marketing,
Yeah.
meaning you build such high level awareness
Yeah.
that people feel like they've been doing business with you for centuries.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you I would much rather do business with a company I know, like, and trust.
Of course, we all do, right?
Correct. And the way I talk about branding, and whenever I'm doing something on stage, I love this because almost everyone in every audience gets this. So, Bill, can we play a game here?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know because I'm going to go to American brands, but
Go for it. Yeah.
I hope this translates. When I say translates, I don't mean English, French, right? I mean translates as in the broad picture of like, okay, these brands are pretty global. So we're going to try this and see how it works. In America, there's a leading brand for each of these products or for each of these things.
Okay.
If you had hemorrhoids in the United States, what product would you go to the store and buy for hemorrhoids?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay.
It's got a number in the name, doesn't it? Or
it has a letter in the name, but that's okay.
Preparation H.
There you go, Bill. Right. I didn't have to work that hard for it.
No.
Preparation H. It is the brand that people go to for hemorrhoids.
Right.
Okay. If you had a cut on your finger and needed to wrap it with something to protect it, what would you use?
Band-Aid.
A Band-Aid, which is a brand.
It's actually a brand,
right. It's a bandage.
Yeah.
Okay. The final one. If you had a cold and needed to blow your nose, what would you use?
Kleenex, which is a brand, right?
Correct. Which is a tissue.
Yeah. Which is a tissue. Yeah.
Correct. The value of brand first marketing is this. You become the go-to. I would much rather become the Preparation H, the Band-Aid, the Kleenex of copywriting for businesses all over the world than be some no-name generic like, oh yeah, if I need this service, I think there's a guy who knows a guy, right? I want my company to be so high-level brand aware for people that we become what we are now, which is the go-to, right? You can build that literally for any business, but you have to be able to have patience.
Yeah,
and
it's a long game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is, I'm not a sprinter. I am not a fast runner.
Yeah.
But man, I can do a hell of a marathon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite stories as a kid was the tortoise and the hare. Mm-hmm. And I've always related to that in business. And just from what you said in that, it's a great analogy, Ken. And just from what you said right there, we could go in so many different directions. But a couple of things I'd like to touch on there. First of all,
please.
This dovetails perfectly with what Gary talks about all the time, which is if he's right and if voice does become what he expects it to become in a not too distant future, it's not going to be Alexa, get me, find me a pizza, or Alexa, find me some nasal tissues. It's going to be Alexa, send me some Kleenex. And you want to be that brand, which is what he hammers home so much. And I completely agree, which, has, to a large part, he's inspired me to start building my personal brand, focusing primarily on LinkedIn, because I think that's where my audience is. Look, I think with 650 million users, there's an audience for everybody, regardless of whether you're looking for the straight-laced corporate guys in finance, whether you're looking for the kind of on-the-edge type of people, a bit more like us, and everybody in between. I mean, there's an audience for everybody, because we don't need 650 million customers.
And you hit the nail on the head. So it drives me nuts when people say, well, my audience isn't on LinkedIn. Well, guess what? First of all, or my audience isn't on Facebook, or my clients don't use social media. Bullshit. Of course they use social media. They just don't use it the way you want them to use it.
Exactly.
And you can still get in front of them the way that you need to. You just have to think about the voice you use when you're talking to them. And so, for example, someone said to me the other day, well, if you got flooded with 1,000 new clients, could your business handle it? Well, my business can handle it. It's a scaled business. Yeah. However, for a small business, for a solopreneur, a single person business operator, right? And there's a lot of them today.
There is.
You need 10 clients.
I think we're going to see a lot more in the not too distant future.
Absolutely. 10 clients, 20 clients, and you're at capacity until you've built systems and processes to handle scalability, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't need 1,000 clients to grow a successful, financially secure business. You might need 10. You might need 20.
Yeah.
And so people look at this and go, well, my audience isn't there. And I apologize. It's early morning here in Arizona. And of course, the sun is right on my left side. And
no, it's fine.
I'm blinding you because I'm giving you my almost bald head.
It's all good.
So the audience is there. Yeah. And you don't need a huge audience. You just need the right audience to see your message.
Yeah.
And And so my approach is with brand first, and any business, by the way, Bill, when I say this, I mean this with such in my heart conviction.
Right.
Any business can build brand first awareness to grow their sales and fuel their growth long term. You just have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And here's what I mean by this. I cannot tell you how many business owners, and we service 15,000 businesses worldwide.
Yeah.
And I can tell
Phenomenal.
you, I see some of the creative briefs that come into our system. And when I see them, I laugh because they say, we love the creative you use, but that won't work in our industry. I need this, this, and this, and this, and this. Versus let our team figure out some new ways of attracting your customers, because you've already told us what you're doing isn't working. If what you're doing isn't working, people, please, Bill, I can't express this loud enough. I would yell if I wouldn't piss off my neighbors. Get out of your head about what messages resonate with your customers, because I'm going to share with you a story that, and this happened about 2 years ago.
Okay.
My business partner, Brandon, and I were sitting down, and I said, Brandon, look at this new ad I just spun. And it's a top of funnel ad, meaning it's so for anybody who doesn't understand what this is, let me explain top of funnel real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Top of funnel is an ad that's served to an ice cold audience. They don't know you. They don't like you. They've never heard of you.
Right.
And you're just basically, they fit a profile, and you hope it's the right profile, right? If your targeting is right, you're getting it in front of the right people.
Yeah.
And so I created this ad, and we call it the clown ad. Okay. And it's an ad with a clown, a little bit bloody, sneaking up on a little boy in a field. And the ad says, what's the number one word marketers struggle to find? Help. And it talks about how we can help them, right? So very, very weird, quirky, simple.
Yeah.
Brandon hated the message. Very memorable.
Yeah.
He hated the message. He's like, this ad's, no one's going to watch this. This is going to be terrible. Like, I don't know why we're doing it.
It's going to freak people out.
Yep, absolutely. Guess what? One of the most successful top of funnel ads we have today. It's been running for 2 years to cold audiences.
Wow.
And 3 million people have seen the ad. We get thousands of likes, shares, comments. And so here's the thing. We get shares, likes, and comments, which, again, in the algorithm, think of how an algorithm works. You are connected to 200, 300, 500 people, whatever your social sphere is, right?
Yeah.
And if you like or comment on something, you've now opened up the ability for your friends in your immediate circle to see what it is that you've liked. Yeah. It's like throwing a pebble in the water. It creates these ripples, right? You're the pebble. That touch point on LinkedIn, on Facebook, whatever it is, allows somebody else to see it. Now, that person that gets to see it may not be your target audience, but that's okay, because they saw it and they go, ooh, I hate clowns, but I'm going to share this with my friend Joe. Joe happens to own a bakery. Yeah. You don't know that, but guess what? You didn't pay for that touch point. And that's where business owners waste brain power trying to isolate just the perfect audience rather than letting the algorithm do its work to find your initial audience. Let them share. And if you create content that's memorable, that people like, that's fun, engaging, people will share it. And guess what happens when they share it? You find new customers.
Right. Interesting. So do I understand this correctly, Ken? Are you saying people overthink the whole, find your perfect ideal avatar and really niche down, super hyper focused? Are you saying that only works to a degree, but don't overthink it because the algorithm will eventually figure it out for you?
So there's a difference between niching down for who you super serve and targeting. Okay. And so I look at targeting. I like to go broad and let the algorithm find the target audience. You got to remember. So
especially top of funnel.
Yes, but I have a different audience, Bill. So what I do, I don't recommend to everybody, and here's why. So let me qualify this.
Okay.
Because I have a ZaaS product, Zombies as a Service.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. Good.
Sorry. Let me resist. Because I have a ZaaS product. I'm a big Walking
Dead fan too, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, the show Jump the Shark, though, years ago. And if you don't know what Jump the Shark means, Google it, okay?
Okay.
And I think that's for your audience. It's a reference to Happy Days and Arthur Fonzarelli. And if you don't know who that is, Google it. Okay. All right. So, boy, I'm going deep on the references this morning. So here's what I mean by first of all, I think a lot of people are coaching businesses to niche down, to go really isolated and narrow. And that's fine until something like COVID-19 happens. And here's what I mean by that. There are a lot of people. I have a friend right now who works with nothing but restaurants.
Oh yeah, sure.
Lost every client in a week. Boy, niching down has its benefits because you become an expert in that. It also has its disadvantages because when a catastrophe like this occurs,
Right.
you lose your business overnight. So I'm a more broad-based thinker. So going back to the algorithm, when we put ads out, we put them out and we're targeting people that are small business owners, agencies, media business owners, CMOs, chief marketing officers. Right. We're looking for people that would engage our service.
Right, sure.
We only retarget those that have engaged with to a certain level.
Okay.
By the way, a lot of people waste dollars chasing people who have been 3-second video viewers. Now, for those of you who are not super familiar with Facebook, if you put a video ad out, people will watch the ad and you have 3-second video viewers, and then you can go to percentages.
Right.
And I choose to target only people who have watched 75% or more. Why? Those are super engaged people, because when I put out a 4-minute piece of content and they've made it 75, 95, or 100%, that's my ideal client.
That's a hot lead. Yeah.
That is a hot lead. And so stop wasting your dollars on 3-second video viewers, because 3-second video viewers are like people driving by a window at a mall back when malls existed. And they just go, oh, look at that pretty thing. And they keep driving.
Yeah. Or they catch a billboard out of the corner of their eye as they're driving on the freeway, at 80 miles an hour or 90, whatever the speed limit.
Correct.
So no, I agree. I mean, it's crazy to think that we're in the world now where 3 seconds actually is considered, engaging with something.
Right. And it's
to me, that's just insanity.
Right. 3 seconds is a sneeze.
Yeah.
It's a sneeze.
Yeah. They could have got distracted by something for that 3-4 seconds, off to the side and not even looked at your ad. So no, I'm completely on board with you on
Bill,
that.
I'm going to put you on the spot this morning if I can, and I'm sorry if I did it. And feel free to edit this out if you feel like it's necessary. I would love, as soon as we're done with this, if you could send me the audio of this, because I would love to share this with my audience as well, because I'm thinking about all of the things that I'm sharing with you, and I know I talk to the audience all the time about this stuff, but this is a different format. You're a different voice, and I'm saying things in a different way that maybe the audience will hear differently. And that's another. Yeah. And so that's just another thing that people do. They get so in their head about, remember I talked about how you deliver a message. Delivering a message one day, one way, doesn't necessarily mean that's the only way to deliver the message.
Yeah.
And so if you could find a variety of vehicles and methods of delivery, do it. Because the more broad-based you are, the more you have a chance of attracting the right audience. Right. If you drop a line into the water with a worm on it, you're going to attract a fish or two. Yeah. But if you take a whole bucket of chum and throw it into the water, every fish is going to flock to you, right?
Sure.
That same mentality with getting people to discover your content, discover your business.
Yeah.
You start to approach it that way, and magic happens.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating. Well, and I don't think I'm going to edit anything out, Ken, because I have zero ego. I'm happy to admit that I did my very first interview last week with someone. You're my second interview. So, I'm learning as I go along. And actually the first interview, I had to go hand in hand begging to redo it because I messed up on Zoom and didn't actually record it. But he was super cool about it, and we just did it yesterday. No, when did we do it? Sunday. Yeah, today we're Tuesday. But yeah, no, I won't edit that out, and I appreciate all of these, gems that you're dropping. By the way, I watched your 8-minute and a bit video that you shot 1 month into Ad Zombies, which was fascinating. I really enjoyed that video. You shot it on your birthday, and I would highly recommend everybody watch that. It was really fascinating to hear what was happening, at the genesis of Ad Zombies and how far you've come now, which is just incredible. But when you started out, did you envision the scaling to this scale to 7 figures and all of that? Did you go in with that mindset that here's where we're going to go? Or was it more a case of, wow, the response is overwhelming, I'm going to run with this and let's see where it goes, and you learned and adapted and grew and scaled as you went along?
I'd like to tell you that I had this master plan, but that'd be a fucking lie. It's not how it happened.
Okay.
I literally started this by accident in a Facebook group, and
I think I know which group, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I saw this need, And all I did was offer to help anyone who needed help. And
Right.
because I had been writing copy for my entire career, I started when I was 18.
Right.
So this is not something that's new to me. The formats have changed. The medium has changed. You know, I went from radio, worked in did television, have filmed and recorded and done all these things and worked on pictures and ads. And like, so I've done a whole bunch of stuff, but I've been in the creative space my entire life. So this writing copy for me is effortless.
Yeah. It was like walking and chewing gum.
Right. And so I saw the need and started. And when I started, I realized very quickly that, well, I've always known this about myself. I'm a chaotic hot mess when it comes to processes and systems.
Yeah.
That's just not me. My brain's just not wired that way. And it's okay to, right? If you know who you are, if you're self-aware and you know that, hey, these are things that I'm not strong in, then you have to figure out how to become stronger in it or delegate it out. Now, I know from having spent time with Tony Robbins, spending time and Gary Vee, spending time trying to become better at something that I might become marginally good at isn't really a good use of my energy and time.
No.
And what really was a game changer for me was my dinner with Gary Vee in October of 2017. And I went to New York.
That could be a great movie, by the way, My Dinner with Gary.
My Dinner with Gary, coming soon to a Netflix subscription near you.
Yeah, for those who didn't get the reference, I was referring to My Dinner with Andre, an old classic, but a lot of the audience may be too young to even remember that film. But yeah, anyway,
Breakfast with Maury. So went to dinner, and Gary gave me the single best advice I think anyone has ever given me. Okay. He looks at me and he goes, Spanky. He calls me by my nickname. He goes, Spanky, you're creative. You're not an ops guy. You need like an ops guy yesterday. And in your social sphere, you've got at least 5 people you know that have built an 8 or 9 figure business and have scaled it. And you need to reach out to them, show them what you've done without any help.
Yeah.
And give them an equity position. Just give them an equity position in the business. And so I'm like, wow, okay. So it was a 20% equity. So I literally gave up 20% equity in the business to find the right person. Now, the next challenge was, okay, I've got 5 people. Who are those 5 people and who's a good fit?
Right.
And by the end of that weekend, so that dinner was on a Thursday night. And it's funny, you have moments in your life that you can see so crystal clear and remember every detail of.
Yeah.
And that dinner, I remember every detail of. And so that night I went back to my hotel, called my wife. We spent 90 minutes on the phone talking about who this person is. And we came up with a list. And then by Sunday, I had that list narrowed down to 3, my top 3 picks.
Okay.
And I started emailing to schedule meetings.
Right.
And on Tuesday, I had street tacos and margaritas with Brandon. Yeah. And Brandon already knew what was going on because he's a friend.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Brandon's already built and scaled a company and I know him. This should be pretty easy to do.
Right.
And we had lunch, we had a conversation, and he's like, yes, let's do this. And now Brandon has partnered with me on a couple of other things because we work well together, and operationally he has zero creativity. Right. Like he is just not a creative, and he admits that.
Well, the two things rarely go together. Wouldn't you agree?
Nope. Yeah, they don't. It's like oil and water. They may blend around each other, but they never actually integrate. And so Brandon and I work really well together because I'm the dreamer, I'm the visionary, I'm the guy who has all the ideas, and then I say, here's what I would like it to look like, and then he engineers how to make it get there.
Yeah,
which is remarkable.
Yeah. No, that's amazing, and I'm always really happy to hear these partnerships or collaborations that have, not happy endings because it's still ongoing, but it hasn't ended in disaster, which is often the case. I've had a couple of bad partnerships, and I guess if I had to narrow it down, it all came down to, in the end, feeling like I was doing 90% of the work for 50% of the money or whatever the arrangement was at the time. And so it's a huge decision to pick the right person. So clearly it worked out for you, so that makes a lot of sense. And another thing I wanted to ask you about as well, and by the way, do you prefer Spanky to Ken? Because
I answer to both.
Yeah, okay,
I don't have a preference.
By the way, is the nickname after the Little Rascals?
Yep, it is 100%.
Yeah, I thought so. Cool. That'll be a story for another time, why the name fits. But one thing I wanted to ask you about is there is always, as you know, being in marketing online, we get, as I am, we get flooded with ads all the time on Facebook about all these courses for sale. And the famous one is your step-by-step blueprint to success, and all that crap. And personally, my personal opinion is, from having gone down a lot of these rabbit holes over the last 3 years, most of it is crap. It's absolute garbage. And I think, unfortunately, with a predicted 7 million people losing their employment almost virtually overnight in the restaurant hospitality industry, just in the US alone, there'll be a lot more people looking for ways to start an online business. Do you think it's possible for someone to buy a course from whoever it is, even the best of the best, and learn how to successfully build a business? Or do you feel, like I do, there are many, many, many more ingredients that go into the mix that determines whether one is successful or not?
Allow me to reposition the thinking on this, and maybe that will provide the answer.
All right.
I have a son who is 20 years old in his second year pre-med, as going into the medical field as a doctor.
Okay.
And he's in his second year of pre-med. And he's learning a lot. Applied bioscience, he's learning chemistry, he's learning all these really important things.
Yeah.
But where does the real learning happen? It's when they become interns. It's when they're in the hospital doing hands-on, practical, tactical work.
Sure.
The same holds true for anyone learning digital marketing or how to build something that can develop sales and generate leads for clients. It's using the platforms, becoming a practitioner, right, has way more value than taking the course. By the way, there are gazillions of courses out there for Facebook. There are courses out there for literally every stinking platform. The challenge is that the courses don't tell you the one thing you need to do, which is, okay, now that you have this basic foundational knowledge, become a practitioner.
Right.
Start using the platforms.
Right.
Learn, test.
Right.
Everyone, and it never ceases to amaze me, Bill, in any Facebook group I'm in, any group I'm in, someone shares some success, and next thing, everyone wants to know, what exactly did you do?
Yeah.
Tell me every minute detail, because they want to replicate it. But what they don't understand is that it only worked for that person because the audience was the right audience, the product was the right product, everything aligned for that particular product, service, business, brand, whatever.
Right.
And just because it worked for them doesn't mean it will work for you. And I'll give you some inside information that I don't often share with people. In fact, I don't know that I've ever shared this publicly.
Oh, perfect. That was one of my questions, actually. Please share something you've never shared before. So here we go.
Over the last few years, I have had several high-level marketers. And when I mean high-level marketers, people who have built big e-com businesses, people who, like, if I mentioned their names, people in the marketing space would go, ooh, who have said, let me take over. Let me show you what we can do with ad zombies. Let me show you what we can do with your marketing. And on a few occasions, I've allowed 3 different people that are high level the ability to do this.
Right.
No one has ever been able to do what we do.
Right.
They've all failed miserably. And it's part of it is this. They come in with the mindset of, I'm going to build the funnel, I'm going to build the process, I'm going to build the system, and it's going to just churn customers. What they don't realize is that our brand has a unique voice. Yeah. Our brand has a unique style and approach. Our brand doesn't follow the traditional metrics and grid of here's how you get customers. Here's the top of the funnel. Now we're going to go to the middle. It doesn't work like that. Right. But they believe, because they've been taught the cookie cutter approach that these courses teach, that this works for everybody, and it doesn't. Right. So I'm telling your audience right now, Bill, every single person that can hear this, see this, and is watching this, I want you to just write this down. Okay. Do it yourself, test everything, and ignore what everybody else is doing. Right. Because you will find your North Star. And when you find your North Star, just keep aiming for it, because the moment you're distracted from that, the moment you divert your attention off that North Star, someone else is going to jump in because they're going to figure out how to do it. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's amazing advice. That's amazing advice, Ken. I think, it's heartbreaking to me, actually, to see how many people waste money and time. Money they can't afford and time they can't afford, chasing all these shiny objects. And I know I'm speaking from experience, because I was one of those people. And I finally just got to the point where I had to just say, F it. I got to ignore everybody. Yep.
I got to figure out, now I figured out what doesn't work. Okay. I tried to look on the bright side. I just figured out, 15 different ways to not succeed at building an online digital marketing business. And I just got to start figuring things out for myself. And that was the pivot point for me which was just very recently, actually, to start going down a different direction. And what's kind of interesting to me too, Ken, is that, and I know we're going in 20 different directions.
That's
here.
okay. I like going in 20 different directions.
Yeah. I think those are the most interesting conversations, really.
Sure.
So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My parents owned 3 new and used furniture stores in a tiny community. I grew up in a village really of 1,100 people, in a bigger community of 10,000 max, way up in northern Ontario, 400 miles north of Toronto. I mean, we called it a pimple in the armpit of Canada. And I started selling on the floor, or apprenticing to sell on the floor of my dad's furniture business, my parents' furniture business, when I was around 13. I realized as I got older how much I learned from my dad. I lost my mom. She died suddenly when I was 16, and my dad died just about a year and a half after that. So I didn't have a lot of time with my parents, but a lot of the lessons I learned, especially from my dad, who was like a master salesman, I realize now, even in this new online world, still applies. And one of the things he taught me is, do business with people the way you would like them to do business with you.
Yep.
Treat people right. They'll always be loyal. They'll always come back, which was true. And your way, not the way other store owners do it. Because he was a very down-to-earth kind of simple guy, wasn't the slick, polished, business type of person at all, but people really related to him. He was very relatable and personable. And it's interesting in this, crazy age we're in of everything's moving a million miles a day, that a lot of those old lessons and old values still apply. And that's one of them is, find your own path and just be true to yourself, basically, is what I'm saying. So, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I think that's going to be pretty amazing for people to hear, because it really, like I said, it really is not a pet peeve. I feel very strongly about it, that so many people are taken advantage of by being promised the magic bullet, the silver bullet that's going to solve all the problems.
Bill, it's really telling to me when, and this all ties together nicely, I think, when people take a course on how to become an agency. They're not actually taking a course on how to become an agency. They're taking a course on how to run leads, Facebook lead ads. Yeah. That's what they're really learning.
Yeah.
They're not learning how to build a business. They're learning how to generate leads.
Yeah.
And when they do this, and I've seen this happen so many times, and I know you've seen it too. They will take the course, then they start trolling for new business, and then suddenly there's two paths that I see. There's the first path, which is they suddenly get their first client, and then they're back in the group and they're freaking out because they have no idea what to do. Wait, you just went through this whole course, right? You should know exactly what to do. The other path is, I've been trying this for months and months and months. I have no idea how to get new clients. Wait a second. You're a digital marketing agency and you don't know how to get new clients. What's the best method for me to do this? Yeah. Hello, you're on the platform. I thought you would be using the platform to your advantage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that
it's pretty shocking.
And the stuff that works, the stuff that resonates is exactly what you just said. I would highly recommend for people who have some downtime during this social distancing, during this whole COVID-19 thing, which, by the way, and I want to address that for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I know this is a really scary time. At first it was the elderly that were being affected by this. But now we're seeing like the first 3-year-old died from this, and we're seeing people in their 40s and 50s, and it's scary. And I know that people can really get swept away by the scary stuff.
Yeah.
But I want everyone to just stop for a moment and think about, are you feeding into the chaos, or are you rising above it to become a leader in your space? Yeah. And I think right now, especially if your business is struggling, you have two things that can occur. You can either feed into the chaos and let your business go into a spiral. Yeah. Or you can rise up and lead and show people the way. Because when this does turn around, and if you look at historic trends, Bill, right. So someone said to me, "Oh my God, my business," this is literally a conversation I had 2 days ago. My business is dying because of this. I don't know what to do. I'm going to go out of business. I'm going to go bankrupt. Stop for a second. The indicator, the economic indicator of your business isn't measured by what's going on this month. Right. Everyone in the world is going to experience a suck-ass March, okay? Yeah. You are not isolated. The airlines, the hotel industry, my business, your business, everyone's business, March sucks balls. Move on from it. Yeah. Let's go back 2 years in your P&Ls. Let's go back 18 months, 12 months, the last 3 quarters. That's a better indicator of where your business is going than what's happening this instant. But people get so wrapped up in what's going on. And so I know I went a little longer than 30 seconds on this. I told you I could do 30.
Okay. No, it's great advice.
I think people need to get their minds right and instead look at the opportunities that are ahead of you. Because when this thing comes around and when things go back to normal, there are a lot of businesses that will have gone under. And there are going to be a lot of new businesses that are looking for help and need your expertise.
Exactly. And so I completely agree that, yes, look, it's horrific what's going on in the world right now. And we've not really experienced something like this before. And yes, it's going to take a devastating toll financially, economically. Businesses will go under. At the same time, I completely agree with you. It's great advice. I'm saying the same thing. Let's try to rise above the panic. Turn off CNN for God's sake. Walk away from the television. Go sit in the backyard with a cold beer. Do something. Go for a walk and just clear your head and think about, okay, what are going to be the opportunities that open up as a result of this? Because there always are opportunities following crises, and how can I serve my clients, the business community? And maybe it means starting from scratch. Maybe it means starting a whole new business. Whatever it means for the individual watching this. But think about that, which I know in the moment is difficult for sure. It's a challenge to not get swept up with all the anxiety and the panic. But I think that's amazing advice, and I agree with you, Ken.
From this global catastrophe will come global clarity. You just need to take a breath and let it happen. And people think, oh my gosh, I'm not getting. Now look, if you survive this, and I don't mean survive this as in life and death. I mean survive this like as in you're still here, your business is
financially
hurt. But you survive this, you have an opportunity to help the world heal and recover, to help businesses come back to life. There are so many opportunities, and the people that are focused on the wrong thing, they're not going to be here to serve that global need. You will.
No.
And so keep that in your mind as you go. So didn't mean to divert us, but I wanted to get that in. Because
look, it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? We're recording this on the 24th of March. We're in the thick of it. And it is horrible. So I think we definitely need to address it, but at the same time, not just focus completely on the negative aspects of it.
Correct.
My thinking is when this is all over, the businesses who do survive are going to need new clients, new customers, sales, cash flow, and fast. And I think they may be more receptive than ever to some new approaches. And so for me, when I look around at the entire digital platform, what resonates most with me is LinkedIn. And so I figure that if I can, me personally, Bill McIntosh, if I can figure out and master to a reasonable degree LinkedIn and generating leads and sales using LinkedIn, that will be a service that will logically should be in demand. Does that make sense to you as an idea, as a strategy?
Yes and no.
Okay.
And here's what I mean by yes and no. Yes, of course it makes sense to be in that space, and LinkedIn is a great platform. I prefer to be platform agnostic.
Right.
And here's why. One day LinkedIn goes away. Something happens. One day Facebook's going to go away. Something different's going to come along.
Yeah.
And if you're solely wrapped up in one platform and that platform dies, so too does your business.
Right.
And so I prefer being platform agnostic. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. By the way, don't disrespect TikTok. Why? the
I love
platforms,
TikTok.
right? The platforms age up. And so when a platform comes in, so let's talk a little bit about how a platform evolves.
Yeah.
When Instagram started, Instagram was a way younger demographic, right?
Yeah.
When Snapchat started, we all remember when Snapchat started, the big scandal was kids were sending dick pics to other kids and they would disappear in a couple of seconds after sending crotch shots, right?
Yeah.
But the platform aged up
Yeah.
and suddenly moms were on it and dads were on it. And it changes. Same thing is happening with TikTok right now. Right now, 60%, I think it's 60%. I saw Rachel Peterson when I was speaking at Social Media Marketing World, and I was looking, and I'm trying to remember the data. So if I get the data wrong, somebody just
Yeah.
shoot a message and say, you're an idiot, you got it wrong. But 60% of the audience now on TikTok is 18 to 35.
Wow.
Right? So that's huge because it used to be just teenagers doing silly dances, and
Yeah.
now it's changing. So I think there's room on every platform, but if you become platform centered
Right.
and your business is built
Okay.
on that platform, you're
Okay.
wholly setting yourself up for failure if
Okay.
that platform goes away.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that feedback.
No problem. I just feel like people get really focused on something and they go, "Ooh, this is the golden egg for now."
Yeah. Right. No, that makes sense. I haven't gone through it yet, but I've downloaded Gary Vee's free deck on how to create. I think it's something like 50 different pieces of content from video, which is why,
It's
by the way, I record the videos because that gives me a lot of freedom. I can use the video, I can extract the audio out, I can convert audio to text and make it an article or a post. There's all, an ebook, whatever. There's all sorts of things to do. So, and spread
bingo.
that out over different platforms.
Bingo. And Bill, that's exactly what we do. And I whenever I'm consulting, so another thing that has risen out of my business and the success of it has been like I started consulting with clients. And so suddenly I'm I have clients all over the world that I'm working with and helping consult with them on how to grow their business specifically. And one of the things that I can't hammer into them enough is you need to document everything. If we didn't have the social isolation going on right now, Troy, my video guy, would be here filming.
Right.
And we would take this footage, we would take this and create multiple pieces of content. We start with the long form, then we cut it into micro content.
Right.
We extract the audio, we extract the text, we turn it into blogs. We do all of that. And the reason is because this isn't rehearsed, it isn't scripted, it isn't something that has to be polished and perfect, but man, is there a shit ton of value in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't got a single question written down anywhere. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. It's not that I wanted to come in unprepared because you're someone I really value and appreciate and respect. It's just that I want to keep it real. I want to keep it very conversational. Right or wrong, that's what I feel with.
Bill, you don't show up to a cocktail party with a list of questions for people you're going to meet. You just have a conversation. And that's when the best stuff happens. The best stuff happens when you're having a conversation with someone. So I think it was great. I'm thrilled that I had the opportunity to do this with you. I'm glad you asked. Lately,
so where can people find you, Ken? Well, first of all, there could very likely be people watching this at some point in the future or reading it or listening to it who don't know Ad Zombies. So you and I are strangers. We get into the elevator. We're going up to the 7th floor. And I turn to you and say, "Hi, my name's Bill. What do you do?" How do you answer so people understand what Ad Zombies is about? And then please share where they can learn more and get in touch with you.
Sure. So what I tell people is this, and this actually evolved and developed when I was with Tony Robbins at Business Mastery.
Okay.
Tony asked me, he says, "What business are you in?" And my initial answer was, I'm a copywriter. I own a copywriting service. But the real answer is we write words that sell anything for businesses anywhere.
Cool.
And that's what my business does. And so you can find me or my company at adzombies.com. That's ADZOMBIES.com. Or if you want to follow me on social, my personal social, all of my platforms are the same. Just look for at Spanky Moskowitz, SPANKY MOSKOWITZ. And that's across every social platform. I have them all the same for a reason, because it's a lot easier to find someone when they're all the same.
Exactly. And I'll post links down below when I start posting this as well.
Awesome, Bill. I look forward to seeing it. And of course, I'm going to share this with my audience as well.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Thank you, Ken. So once again, thank you for your time. And is there anything that I didn't ask that you wished I would have that you'd like to finish up with?
No, what I do want to say is this, and this is to everyone who sees this, no matter what time they see it, no matter how far down the road they see it.
Right.
And that is, every business goes through challenges. Every business goes through tough times. It's how you respond during those times that determines if you come out of this on your feet or as an employee working for someone.
Yeah. Yeah. Very sage advice, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ken. This has been amazing. I know entrepreneurs and want to be entrepreneurs everywhere are going to get tremendous value from this. So I can't thank you enough, my friend.
Glad to do it.
Okay, Ken. Well, listen,
All right.
All the best. Stay safe, stay well for you and your family. And we'll all get through this.
Yep, we will. I'll talk to you soon, Bill.
Okay, buddy. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.